Hey guys, how's everybody doing today? Let's jump right into it. Take your power back. You are literally a creating or manifesting machine. We're going to get right into this topic here now. Check this out. Did you know that you cannot not create or manifest? You are constantly creating your world. Constantly. Also, you came here to do this stuff. Let me repeat that again. All of this is actually like a video game. And you actually have the power to create anything you desire. Literally anything. And I'm going to show you. I'm going to talk about my experience. If I can do it, you can do it. And how I found out that all of this, even I'm talking to you right now, and everything I'm putting out to you, it's all like a game within a game. Literally is. So let's use my example, right? Years back, before I started my journey and I started to, understand what's going on, I always had what you would call trippy powers. Like, man, I would dream stuff, and then I would get it would be this voice that was talk to me, but it was the best way I could describe it was if I'm walking and someone's walking next to me, the voice would be loud, and I would look to the other person to see if they heard it, but they didn't hear it, only I heard it. And I started thinking, I said, man, am I going crazy or something here, man? It's like, man, let me shut this out. And then I continued, and I just started to just wanted to learn, and I found myself, I found something. I said, man, I am moving into a different phase. Why am I all of a sudden into this spiritual stuff or trying to figure out purpose and all this stuff? And then that led me to the lottery and the car and then other stuff. And then after all that happened and to where I'm at right now, I realized that, whoa, this is a game, man. I can literally create anything I desire. And it started with the lottery. The stigma on the lottery is like, in my mind back then, it was, man, this is a hard game, man. This is a lot of chance and probabilities. And I was into all of that. I was thinking about that. Then I said, I'm going to put this to the test. So if this thing is really a game, because that was my hypothesis back, I was thinking to myself, all right, Mark, so quantum physics, and that the core structure, when you got an atom and you break it down, you got protons, neutrons, you break those down, you get smaller particles, quarks, muons, and then you break those down and you just get this vortex of this really energy. And I started saying to myself, okay, if that's what my world is, even though I'm seeing physical stuff, it's really energetic blueprint. I really had to convince my mind that, because logically I'm seeing physical stuff, but I knew innately that it wasn't really real. So I had to convince myself with my ego, and I got to a point where I kind of had it balanced. And I said, all right, let me do this lottery thing. And you know what? I did it, and I visualized it, and it happened exactly the way it was in my head. That was my first aha moment. Like, oh my goodness, this thing is really a game. I was like, all right. I said, one time you're lucky. Let's see if you could do it again, Mark, a second time. And I went ahead and I did the lottery and I won again. I was like, what the heck is going on here? I said, all right. 2 times you're just extra lucky. 3 times something's up. And I did it 3 times. Did it 4 times, 5 times, and I kept winning. And I was like, whoa, okay. I said to myself, all right, let's move from the lottery. Let's see if I could do this other areas of my life. Let's see if I could create or attract businesses or people or things that will move me to my purpose. And it started happening again and again and again. And I was like, yes, this is really a game within a game. This is a matrix. This is a video game. And that's when everything started to be downloaded to me, and then I started to see the whole picture. And I want to present this to you, because if it's in me, it's in you. So here's what I've learned, and here is how you can create and become a manifesting machine, because you're literally creating. What I discovered was I am always creating, but I wasn't aware of what I was creating. See that? So I discovered that when I came here, just like you, when you came here, you all of us were pre-programmed to create. Everything we see, we created. But because we developed survival mechanisms such as a conscious or an ego mind, it kind of shoved it out the picture. So we would focus more on what we didn't want, and we started attracting more of those, what I call negative loops. And I was like, all right. So this has to do with my unconscious and my conscious mind. So I said, so if I think something in my mind, and I went back to the lottery because I used to do a lot of visualization, and when anything, so I said, so basically reality has two imprints. And the best analogy that came to my mind was, I remembered like the old school days, like when my mom, they used to take pictures, and back your parents take pictures, they used to take it to like the CVS or something to go get it developed, right? The film developed. And every time they developed a film, there would be two parts of the same film. They'll have a negative or a positive. But the film had two parts. And I was like, boom, that's how reality really is when we create. From the minute I put something in my mind and I visualize it, now repetitively, if I do this over and over again, it's not just a one-time, it's just something, because you have to imprint the background of reality or the background of a quantum field. And I said, so from the minute I did that, I create that, what we call that negative photo. And then when I put my energy to it, which is light, focus, it becomes the physical thing. So in actual essence, everything was already created, was just in a backdrop, but I couldn't see it because my eyes aren't developed to pick up that background, what we call it, radiation part of the universe, light radiation, all different types of radiation parts that my eyes can't pick up. I can only see visible light spectrum. And that's when it clicked. And I say, okay, so it all starts in my mind. So whatever I focus on with attention and energy, it grows and it expands. And I was like, man, why don't people do this stuff? Why isn't this taught in schools? I was like, then it came to my mind. I was like, well, Mark, this voice, because my higher self says, Mark, they can't teach this in school because it will mess up the whole program. I said, So I said, what am I supposed to do here? He says, you're supposed to come here to give awareness and tell people about this stuff so that they can consciously grow up and they can do it. I was like, okay. And that's when I just started discovering that how this matrix, we have a matrix here where people create this illusion of your life with fear-based, and they keep you in a hypnotic state for miscreating. This is why more people get what they don't want versus what they do want, because the program was set up before you got here from birth to put you in a negative trance state. And when I realized that stuff, man, I was like, man, this is deep, man. That's all I kept saying to myself, this is deep. And I just kept going and going and going. And it just started to create and manifest. Every time, whatever I would think and I focus, it would manifest. And I said, all right, Mark, so what is it before you used to have such difficulty, but now it's so easy? And it clicked. It was like my unconscious mind, man. I had to go down there and clean it out. So you, just like me, you have that power. But your power was taken away from you. That's why you got to take it back. See, you were taught that the external world is all there is. And you can't create something deliberately. You have to force or work hard or get the right connections. I mean, everything was telling you, don't use your mind. That's all they were trying to. Don't use your mind. Don't use your mind. Don't use your mind. Listen to me. Listen to me. Follow this. Do that. And that's why you don't manifest what you want. But all along you were using your mind, but you didn't know that you were using it unconsciously. And that's why I say, well, this is why I'm here. I'm here to teach this stuff. Because I started getting all this information. It was just downloading to me. And I said, man, I got to share this knowledge because this is why I'm here. And so you literally are a creating machine. You came to Earth, this plane, or this game I like to call it. You really came here to practice manipulating quantum energetic fields and creating a storyline of whatever you want. You were here to make a story. It's like a movie. You're here to make a movie. Whatever you chose, you came here. So the thing is that you cannot, when people say, I can't manifest, man, I can't create, man. No, you cannot not manifest. I'm telling you right now that you are constantly creating. The ones that can get this are what I call the chosen ones, are the ones who know that, okay, they know they're creating, but what do? They consciously become aware of it. Majority of people are unconsciously aware of this stuff. So my big tip for you is this, and this is something that will help you to become a creating machine. Just be aware of what you are focusing as much as possible. Always just be aware of what your dominant thought patterns are, and then always visualize every day, every night, man. You have to make a repetition to visualize your goals. And I always do my goals. I never start with like a beginning. I never put a middle. I go right to the end of my goal. I just see it there, and then I create a little story, then I jump to another goal. But I always do that because this is a game. This is a game. I want you to think about that. Just think about my story, what I just told you, and how I created it deliberately. It's no fluke. You know, your mind gives you fluke, your conscious mind, because here's something else I want you to think about too. You know the reason why sometimes you find it's hard to accept? It's because your logical mind shuts it down by creating what we call a doubt and fluke. Your mind is always looking to make sense of something. Here's the bottom line. When your mind can't make sense of something, you know what happens to you? It puts it in a category of fluke, unbelievable, forget about this, let's move on to real life. Because it cannot process that stuff, but it's still there. It doesn't care about your mind. The universe doesn't care. So remember, we live in a game. You're constantly creating. Everything you put out is a backdrop. You can bring it in. And remember this, the biggest secret is this. From the moment you decide you want something and you like visualize it, it's etched in reality, but you just can't see it. And just like that Polaroid or that picture, the two negatives, the same picture, but they're just different colors. Then when you shake it, the old Polaroid photos used to take those and shake them pictures, right? I see my parents do it. They take Polaroid pictures and they like shake it, and I watch pictures. I was like, why are you shaking the picture, man? They're shaking the picture to get the light. So it develops the energy. Light, when they wave it, is light. Energy is light. When you concentrate and you focus, it's like you waving that etch sketch from the background to become physical stuff. It's all there, people. It's all there. Okay? That's some insights I want to share with you so that you can start to take your power back, because you are a manifesting machine.